to tell us what the international desk has for us in the upcoming week, we're joined by SABC News Correspondent Sherwin Bryce-Pease. Sherwin's been a busy week on the international front, but more so a busy week coming ahead. Tyler Robinson, who is the alleged assassinator of Charlie Clerk, will formally be charged on Tuesday. The reporting around Tyler has been fascinating, to say the least, over the last 2 days since he had been suspected, then later on arrested, being turned in by his own family. I think his father having been involved in that. What do we know about Tyler, and what do we know with what he will be charged with?
Well, we know that he's from Utah, Oliver, and that he was raised in a Republican household. We know that he was a third-year student in electrical apprenticeship. He came from a fairly stable home. Of course, the United States, particularly these Republican states, have wide berths in terms of access to weapons in the United States. We know that he was obviously a very talented marksman, because he certainly hit his target with aplomb, and will likely be charged on Tuesday. We know that he's being held on suspicion of crimes of aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. So that's the speculation around what sort of charges he will face, but that will become clearer in the days ahead. The investigation, of course, still ongoing. They are interviewing family members, friends who might have known him. But so far, the legal authorities here indicate that he acted alone. And the other half of that will be the farewell to Charlie Kirk. We understand now that his memorial will be held in Arizona on the 21st of September, essentially next Sunday. And President Donald Trump, a close friend and confidant of Charlie Kirk, has indicated that he will most definitely be at that memorial, at that funeral on the 21st. But before that, of course, the President and the First Lady, Melania Trump, undertake a state visit to the United Kingdom. They'll be welcomed by King Charles and Queen Camilla at Windsor Castle on Wednesday for a state banquet before he engages with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, in terms of finalizing a long talked about UK-US trade deal. Then we'll fly back to the United States and will be present, we understand, at Charlie Kirk's funeral on the 21st of September, which is next Sunday.
Now, we know that Charlie Kirk's body was transported in Air Force 2, which is the official aircraft carrying J.D. Vance, the vice president. And there had been calls and requests for his body to lie in state at Capitol Hill. If any of that been confirmed, that his body will lie in state at Capitol Hill for his send-off?
That has not been confirmed, but this just speaks to what an important figure Charlie Kirk was within the Republican Party writ large here in the United States. He was extremely catalytic in re-energizing the youth vote, the younger population vote in the United States. And Donald Trump is quoted by Charlie Kirk himself as having said that Charlie Kirk was one of 4 individuals that probably played the most pivotal role in Donald Trump's re-election, that coming from the president, right? Others that come to mind are the likes of Elon Musk, but Charlie Kirk was a force to be reckoned with. At just the age of 31, his organization, Turning Point USA, would often go to university campuses, high school campuses around the country to engage in conversation with young people around the world about their political persuasions. And so this effort to have him lie in state would be unprecedented, given the type of person he was. He wasn't really a member of government. The last time I remember a member of Congress lying in state would have been John Lewis at the behest of the Democratic Party. But this was an icon within the House of Representatives. Charlie Kirk had a different role here. He was outside of government. The president has also announced that he will be awarding posthumously Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian honor here. So while that sort of legalese about whether he can lie in state at the Capitol plays out, it should not undercut the fact that he was an icon, certainly, given his age and the power that he swayed in terms of politics in this country. Very much a pivotal figure in the Republican Party.
Yeah, big week for Jerome Powell.
Yeah, Jerome Powell, that has been within the vortex of the Trump administration in terms of resisting efforts from the White House. Oliver, as you well know, that has been seeking to have Jerome Powell lower interest rates here in the United States. And of course, within the context now of inflation edging up and data coming out over the last number of weeks that shows that the United States addition of jobs over the last 4 months has been revised downwards in quite a seismic way. So a lot of pressure. We're seeing a slowing down in terms of the job market, in terms of job creation, but also an uptick in inflation and concerns on the periphery here that the United States might slowly be edging into negative territory here in terms of growth, and that could lead to a recession. So a lot of pressure on Jerome Powell and the other Fed governors ahead of that Wednesday meeting. But also a sidebar to that, Oliver, is the attacks by the White House on Lisa Cook. Lisa Cook is a Biden appointee to the Fed board, one of the voters essentially that will determine whether interest rates go up or not on Wednesday. And Donald Trump has sought to remove Lisa Cook as a Fed governor, but he can only do that in terms of the Fed statute, in terms of whether there is cause or not. And a federal judge ruled on September 9th. They placed a preliminary injunction blocking Lisa Cook's removal. The Trump administration, Oliver, has moved very swiftly to an appeals court that is seeking an appeals ruling on the lower court's ruling before that Fed meeting on Wednesday. So he wants Lisa Cook removed over allegations of mortgage fraud in relation to how she listed 2 homes of hers as her primary residence, which has implications for how the repayment schedule would look. And in the last number of days, some media reporting here in the United States showing that she had in fact listed that second home as a vacation home, undercutting the narrative that has emanated from the United States, from the White House. So that legal drama will play out ahead of that key decision on Wednesday by the entire board of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah. Sherwin, thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, international correspondent for the SABC